Welcome back, everyone. We're going to continue with learning about classes, and in this video, I like to mention decorators, which I might have a separate video for later, but we want to use that and also want to go over what static methods are. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I'm going to take the class employee that we created and copy it and paste it here. Let me come up here and put a little comment. Decorators are very cool Python elements that allow you to decorate a method and thereby change the functionality of that particular method. In this particular case, first I'm going to go and create another method called def set raise amount. And with the decorator, we are going to basically place it above the method that we wanted to make changes to. And the way it's done is using an @ sign and then the name of the decorator. In this case, it's called class method. There are tons of these built into Python. What this particular one does, it basically becomes a class method for all instances. So let me make a note over here, class method for all instances. So this is a method at the class level. That's basically what it is. As such, we don't use the self keyword because the self keyword, remember, points to the particular object itself. Instead, we can use something else, and traditionally we just put CLS for class, and we're going to pass an amount variable to it. This is going to take CLS and create a variable raise amount, and set this equal to the amount that was passed, basically. Let's see what this really means in practice. So I'm going to take my two employees that I had here and copy and paste them again. I'm running out of cartoon characters. This is now done based on this last iteration of employee that we created. Let's go ahead and take employee. It is a class method, so I'm going to take employee.set raise amount to 1.07 and do shift enter. Well, what did this do? If I take emp underscore, you know what, to make this easier, let me make these guys be 100,000. That is 100,000, yes. And then do this. Then I'm going to take employee 7 dot apply raise and employee 8 and apply raise. Remember, in the class, the definition, the raise amount was 4%. And we just basically set this to 7%. Notice the raise amount right here is what we're referring to. This is the class variable, so that's what we said, CLS.raise amount equals to amount. And I'm going to come down here and do a couple of print statements. So print emp7.pay and print emp8.pay. Let's take a look at this. You notice that they want to buy $7,000 each. As expected, 7%. So we can actually change this variable, this value that we decided to be a class variable. We can use a class method to have some control over that as well. And I wanted you to see that. Now, there may come times when you're actually reading in a bunch of entries from a file of some kind, and you want to basically create various objects based on what you're reading. So to handle that, we can actually modify our class definition. But first, let's take a look at an example. So parsing a string. So I'm going to have an employee string 9 to be equal to Daisy Duck 50,000. let's say that this is how we're reading in the data. This is how it's put together in some kind of file. Well, what I can do is I can use the strings split method to actually split this up. Let's actually see how this works. Let me first just do a print and take emp underscore string underscore 9 dot split, and I'm splitting on the hyphen. See what this does. And you notice it actually returns a list with each piece separated, and smart enough that it knows there's nothing at the end, which is pretty cool. So you can see it returns a list. So what can I do with it? So I can say first, comma last, comma pay is equal to emp underscore 9 underscore string 9 dot split, on hyphen. By the way, if you don't provide anything to split on, it splits on space, just for your information. And I could go in here now, and the first name is assigned to first, last is to last, and pay to pay. So I can create emp underscore 9 and call the employee and pass to it the first, last, and pay. If I were to print that, print emp underscore 9 dot full name, since we have that method, and emp underscore 9 dot pay, we should get the proper, oops, what did I do here? This is terrible. Employee, there you go. So, okay, what did I do this time? I misspelled name. There we are. There we are. So you can see that this really works, pretty cool. It is kind of cumbersome, so let's make this a little bit nicer. So the above does works, but it is cumbersome. So let's create a new class method to do the work for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, everything that we created up here, copy it again, and come down here and paste it. So what I would like to do is to go in here and add another class method. So I'm going to go all the way to the end. I'm going to call this def from string, let's say. And this is going to be a class method. So as such, I need to decorate it using @class method. So it's going to get the CLS and an employee string that we're going to feed to it. And we're going to basically just do the same thing we did before. First, last, pay is equal to emp string dot split over the hyphen. That's what we're expecting. And we're going to return CLS of first, last, and pay. And what this does, it create the object, because we're calling the CLS the class, and return it. Very cool. Let's try it out. So I'm going to create an emp underscore string underscore 10. And I'm going to let this be Tweety bird, say 50,000. And emp underscore 10 is going to be employee. I'm just going to call the class method from string. And I'm going to pass to it emp underscore string underscore 10. Done. I can go ahead and print emp underscore 10 dot full name and emp underscore 10 dot pay. And notice it actually took care of it for us, which is really, really nice. So the second thing that I'd like to look at in this video is the use of static methods. So what does that mean? Let's actually, I'm going to write some notes here to help you guys out later if you're looking at this and you're wondering what was going on. So regular methods automatically pass their instance as an argument. That is the self key. That is the self, basically. So they pass their instance as an argument. That's what that self is. Class methods automatically pass the class as an argument, which of course again is why we have to include the CLS for a class method and the self for an instance method. So this is the CLS. Now here's the difference. Static methods do not pass anything automatically. So they are more or less a function, more or less functions. Okay. I'm going to paste the code that we had before, and whoops, let me not do that. Let me get this one, which is the latest one, and copy that. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom and create a class or static method. So I'm going to create a def called is work day and pass to it a variable day. Very important to understand and pay attention to this. You see that I am not passing a self, which is an instance method. I'm not passing a CLS, which would be a class method, of course, properly decorated. To make sure that this doesn't throw an error and Python knows what it is, we're going to decorate it using static method. Okay, this is a static method to determine if a day is a work day. Okay, and let's face it, we really don't care about a particular instance or the class itself determining that. This needs to be independent of those. I'm going to use an if conditional. If day that is passed to us dot weekday is equal to 5, or day dot weekday is equal to 6, return false. Okay, let's check this out, see if this works. I do need to put an else statement here, also else return true. Let's do a shift enter. I am going to import date time, and I'm going to create my date to be equal to date time dot date 2019 7/14. I've already tested this date, and I'm going to print employee dot is workday my date. And I put an underscore here, and I forgot that one. And it says that this is false. Let's copy and paste this. And I'm going to change this to the 16th. And this is true. So you see that it's fairly easy to work with. This is just a simple example, of course. But it is a static method. This you don't have to create an instance of anything. I'm calling the class itself, and I'm calling it like it's basically a function, is workday, and it works, which is great. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're enjoying these videos and learning, please share them with your loved ones and friends. Pass the word around, and thank you as always for being a great audience.